guys, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host, Emily. Hope you're all having a lovely day and I hope it's about to get a little bit better as always. So we are just going to cover, for those of us who are watching, the Mrs. Trunchbull ice cream cone head hair. Do you know what, girls? It's hair wash day tonight. I made that sound like I do it every Thursday. I definitely don't. But me and Oz going away at the weekend because it was my birthday last week, which was lovely. And Oz, we don't really do like big presents. I'm much more of like an experienced person. So for our birthdays, we normally go away and see somewhere new. So yeah, this weekend we are off to like higher up in the Peak District. So hair wash day, I was saving it till the weekend. Anyone else do that? It's a thing, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, I just was like, right, I'm just gonna ice cream at cone, and I always feel like it's okay because top knots are stylish. No, I 100% look like Miss Trunchbull. Always have, always will. So yeah, there we go. Anyone watching, that is what the hair. Everyone's like scrambling on the phones, like have a kip of this hair. Right, so today's episode, moving on then. Today's episode is all about 5 things I wish I knew quicker in my fat loss journey, that I got my head round quicker in my own fat loss journey, because it really does baffle me. Not baffle me, but like the things I tell my clients from the off now, I am just like, why did I not know that sooner? Like, I feel like that's why my clients get quite quick, good results, because from the off, I'm like, look, this is really important. This is really important. Like, it's not a, oh yeah, try it if you can. Like, if you can get your head around this, it's gonna be as quick as possible. And again, like clients, one-to-one clients, but also in the Fit in 6, we get really good results in 6 weeks, because from the off, we are like this is important and this is what you need to do. So that's part of the reason why I created Fit in 6, is that for when I wish Fit in 6 was around when I started my fat loss journey. I wish I had the Fit in 6 to be like, okay, do this. These are the simple things you need to do. Go and crack on. Like, yeah. And I didn't. I had to like find my feet a little bit, pick things up along the way until I eventually got a coach. But by the time I got a coach, I was already into my own fat loss journey. So today is about helping you guys out of, maybe if you're starting a fat loss journey, maybe you've just slipped a little bit and you need reminding of like the basic things that actually are really important when it comes to fat loss, and things that I wish I knew. So a little bit of background then. I'm sorry, before we go into background, the reason I'm talking about this and what made me want to do this episode is we've got the Mission Empowered podcast live coming up. Okay, so Saturday, 6th of April, there are still some tickets left. It's going to be a phenomenal day. Like, it really is. If you don't know what it is, I have done like a 10-minute podcast on it. Go back and listen to that. And I really delve into it. But yeah, Mission Empowered podcast live in-person event is happening Saturday the 6th of April. And part of that is everyone who's there is going to get a bit of an insight into what started Empowered, and my journey and the downfalls that I had, and like the pivotal moments that I had. So I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, you know what, that's what I want to do the podcast on today, is a little bit about my background, because I always feel like, as well, if I ever listen to anyone who is sort of either where I want to be or is on the path that I'm on, it's so much more relatable than to just listen to someone who is like, do this, do that, which I never tried to be anyway. But it's always cool to listen to someone else's past experiences. So bloody hell, let's get the ball rolling. Intro done. So 5 things I wish I'd knew at the start of my fat loss journey, or wish I knew the importance of at the start of my fat loss journey. So when I started my fat loss journey, I actually lost in total about 2.5 stone. About 2.5 stone, but I did it over a period of around 2 years. I never really set out the intention with, I'm desperate to lose weight. Like, I was never desperate to lose weight. I always wanted to, but like, I hear so many people saying, I'm sure some of you can relate to this. I used to come to terms with the fact was, well, I go to the gym, I eat healthy, maybe this is just what my body looks like. Like, does anybody else feel like that? Because that is exactly the mindset I used to have, until I started learning, actually, no, I don't have to settle with that. I can change my body. I can change my physique if I want to. But that's why I relate to a lot of women who say, I go to the gym, I eat well, maybe this is just like the body I'm meant to have. And it's like, no, you just don't understand yet the things that you can do to change it. So yeah, so that's like a little bit about my journey. When I started to find out these things, that's when I started to lose the weight, to really see my shape change. Like for me, a big thing that I noticed, or that I always wanted to focus on, was my arms. Not good today, I've got a big hoodie on, but I always wanted more toned arms. Always. I couldn't fathom how girls had these amazing like delts and visible triceps and biceps. I was like, oh, I really want that. Now, one of my favorite things about me is my arms. Like, I trained so hard and I got the arms I wanted, especially in the run up to like my hen doing my wedding. If anyone's getting married and you've got like, you know, that strapless dress or like the mini strap dress where your arms are on show, for me, oh my God, I've never been so dedicated to have not, do you know what? It wasn't even to have a certain look of the arm. It was to feel like on the day, I don't want to hide my arms. I don't want a fat arm, ham arm, you know? So yeah, you can change it. Because for me, used to train for years, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I used to train my arms because I wanted to change, but I was just doing it in the wrong way. Okay, should we start? Sorry. So a little bit of background then about me and where I started and how it took me 2 years and stuff. But the biggest, I remember starting my journey. This is number one, by the way. We're not going around the houses again. I remember starting my journey, and one of the very first coaches I had, he was like a bit of like a friend as well. And he told me about protein. This is going to sound crazy. He told me about protein and how much protein I should be eating, which is why I so relate to everyone when they say, I can't eat that much food. I literally was like, are you joking? That much food, that much protein? Like, because what happens when you first start tracking protein is that you will track what you're currently eating. Or I might give you a goal and then you'll track what you're currently eating. And it might be like half of that goal. And you will be like, what? And then you start increasing it and you're still not even near that goal. And it is such a breakthrough moment when you realize, oh my God, the key to fat loss is not fucking starving myself. The key to fat loss is eating more protein and having bigger meals and not feeling hungry. Oh, like that is such a big revelation when you're dieting. And for me, it was the exact same thing. Protein for me was such a big what's the word, like milestone in me starting my fat loss journey. So when I got my head around that, I was like, this is doable. That is it. That is how I felt. I felt, okay, this is doable. Because previous to this, I knew well, obviously I didn't know the importance of protein. I knew that I should be eating protein. So prior to having this coach, I would have like a protein shake maybe for breakfast, but not because it had the protein, but because it was like 100 calories and it was a shaken, shake diets were all a thing. Then for like my lunch, this is if I was trying to lose weight, I'd have chicken and spinach, like that's it. Maybe some tomatoes, but that's what I remember microwaving that, chicken and spinach. And then for my tea, I think I was just fucking starving by then, so I'd pretty much have whatever like my mum had made. But yeah, and like protein bars, but I'd have them from like a diet. I'd have what would I have? PhD diet whey protein bars, and they used to be, and that was the protein I used to have as well, but just because it was diet. And if you've heard me talk about protein powders, you will know diet whey, don't bother, it's not worth it, just get your normal whey. So yeah, I was like gimmick central. I'd buy in. Anyway, my point being, so when I had the revelation of protein being important and hitting a protein target, that for me was like a real game changer of this is doable. And this is why I want to remind you girls, if it's number one on my list, it should certainly be number one on yours. If you are on a fat loss journey and you are not tracking your protein and are not understanding the importance of protein, then you need to get to know. Now, don't worry, I have done so many podcasts on it. The one that you can go and listen to is called The Hype on Protein. It's a full podcast episode about protein, about how to get your protein in. But yeah, for me, understanding the importance of protein and starting to increase protein in my diet was a game changer. And you can see and you can hear it in my voice, like it was an absolute game changer. And that is why, again, when I chat to people, if they're interested in working with me one-to-one, we have a call, we have a chat, we have a little dig into like their lifestyle, and I could bet £100, £1,000. One of the most common things that shows up on these calls is people don't eat enough protein, 100%. And yeah, we just need to keep drilling it down your throat, really. But yeah, protein, number one. So number two is steps, is not understanding the importance of daily movement. I've always been into the gym, always been into cardio, always been into sport, always been into weightlifting, love it. But before I started my fat loss journey, never really understood the importance of steps. Like I've always enjoyed moving, so it wasn't that like I wouldn't go for a walk, or even when I used to work in my old gym on my lunch break, I would set myself a target and be like, right, go and walk 5K, or go and do half an hour steps on the treadmill while you're watching something. Like I would always know it, but I wasn't tracking it. And I feel like now as well, there's more people telling you don't need to track your steps, But I am like, no, you don't need to. You also don't need to, track your food, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier if you've got a watch on that tells you, hey, you've done 5,000 steps, you've got 5,000 to go. Like, of course that's easier, of course that's easy to do. So for me, starting to track my steps and track my daily movement and getting an actual fitness tracker, that again was a game changer for me, because I also knew as a fat loss tool, the more steps we do, the bigger calorie deficit we'll be in, the better fat loss results we're going to get. Now, that doesn't mean I'm still doing now the same steps I was doing when I got married, because when I got married, let me just top my water up. But when I got married, my steps, I was pushing my steps between like 14 and 16,000 a day. Like, I was so fucking motivated. I need to do a podcast just about how motivated I was on the wedding and like stuff I was doing. Anyway, I feel like I spoke about that a lot this week. Put out on my reels. I feel like it's bride season, actually. A lot of girls I'm working with at the moment getting married soon. Yeah, it's bride season. It's great. Right, so steps then. Like I said, doesn't mean that's what I'm doing now. Okay, I actually do try and do 10K steps per day. Like I don't really do less than that. I don't like to do that. I don't like to do less than that. Not from a physique point of view, from a mental health point of view. If I haven't done 10K steps, I haven't moved enough. I haven't been outside enough. I go on at least 2 walks a day. So I do a lovely big walk in the morning where I listen to the birds, touch the trees, say hi to everyone. It's my favourite part of the day. And then normally do one at lunchtime after my lunch, just to help with digestion. And then I also, one of my favourite things is to meet up with friends, or if Ol comes in from work, just having a 5-minute walk debrief down around the block. Like, that is, my ideal of getting, and that is how I get my steps in. So it really baffles me. And all of that I look forward to. It's a highlight in my day, it's a break in my day. It baffles me. Not even baffles me. I would more say infuriates me, when people say, ugh, I feel like I have to get up and go for a walk all the time. And I've had clients, luckily they don't work with me now, but I do feel like saying, you ungrateful bitch. Like, do you know how many people would want to get up and go for a walk in the morning, but can't, or restricted, or disabled, have a disability? I just be grateful that you get to go for a walk. Like, literally be grateful. Starting your day with a walk is one of the most amazing things you can do, physically, mentally, for your heart, mind, soul, all of that jazz. Like, yeah, right, we've gone down a rabbit hole here. But steps anyway. For me, number 2 was understanding how important daily movement is and tracking my steps were. When I started to do that again, I started to see better results. Okay, next one then, number 3. So remember, there's 5 of these. Number 3 was the difference between training and working out. Now, if you haven't caught up on last week's podcast, I'd probably recommend to go and do that, because I touch on the difference between doing classes and actually training for results, and the difference, because I know a lot of people who I speak to, a lot of you guys, or a lot of you listening, a lot of you are doing classes. When people come and work with me one-to-one, they're coming from a class background, or they love the classes but they're not seeing results, and then they say to me, can I keep doing my classes though? I'm like, hon, if the classes were working for the results you want, like, you wouldn't be knocking on my door. Go and listen to that podcast, because I'm not slandering classes and saying never do them, but I'm talking about physique results. Classes are not going to be the most optimal for you. So number 3 for me was understanding the difference between working out and training. Okay, so training is what I speak about, and I've spoken about on a podcast before, is training with intent. So what body part am I training? What am I trying to get from this workout? Excuse me, oh my god, pure just bits. I'm so sorry. I hope that didn't come down the mic. Sorry. Moving on. What am I trying to get out of this workout? What reps am I trying to beat? What weight am I trying to improve on? Okay. Where am I trying to push myself in this workout? That is training. Okay. Exercising, working out is your things like, I'm going to go to the gym with my mates who I go with after work. We don't really have a plan. We do what machines are free. We have a little bit of a chat, or we go to a HIIT class, we go to a circuit class, we do 10 minutes on each of the cardio machines. Like, that's exercising. Now, again, or you might think I'm repetitive at this, but it's so important for me to say, I would much rather you do exercising than nothing. Okay, but when it comes to getting results and being frustrated about not getting them, looking at what camp are you fitting in? Are you going to the gym and sort of fannying about, not really tracking your weights, not really doing the same exercises, progressive overload? Or are you going to the gym with your logbook or with an app or notes on your phone with a plan every week trying to get better? I guarantee, I reckon probably, let's be optimistic, 30% of people are going with the logbook and the notes, okay? Do you know why I think that? Because when I started my journey, was I logging my weight? No. Was I having a plan? No. I was going to the gym, and like I said, I've always been a hard trainer, okay? I've always liked to push myself, always liked to exercise. That doesn't mean I'm not a bad person because I didn't understand about the logging of the weights and the training and the progressive overload. Didn't get it, didn't know what it was. So why would I be doing it? And if that's you now, okay, now you're going to start to understand, okay, I need to get my shit together with this. I am showing up to the gym. And this is a dead sad thing about people. They sign up to the gym and after 3 months they stop going. Why? Because they feel like it's not working. And it's not that it's not working. They just don't understand how to make it work for them. If I owned a gym, this is a thought, but if I owned a gym, I would literally be holding free seminars for every single person coming into that gym and saying, look, this is how you're going to get the best out of the gym. Do you know what people do? Gym owners, they just bang a load of PTs in the gym and let them get on with it, and they wonder why their retention is so low. It's madness, really, isn't it? Maybe I should go into gym ownership as a side hustle. Right. Anyway, training versus working out is really important for fat loss. When I started training, tracking my weight, pushing myself every session to do better, to be better, to train to failure, that is when I started to say, do you remember before I spoke about the definition in my arms, definition in my legs, feeling tighter, feeling stronger, feeling more shapely? That's when all that started to come, is when I started training properly and not just going to exercise. So like I said, I always used to like exercise. I used to teach a lot of classes. Before I go to work, I'd go to a class and then I'd do like a little arm circuit. But I wouldn't be tracking it. I know I liked lat raises and biceps and triceps. And every week before or after the class, I'd be like, I'm training arms. I wasn't training arms. I was exercising my arms. But again, because I didn't know. So if you're in that camp, that's okay. But this is why whenever you come work with me, whether it's on the Fit in 6 or it's on one-to-one, you will be training. You will not just be exercising. You will be training. Every week, I expect you to be doing better, pushing better, and you will understand it. Okay, so number 3 for me was getting my head around training versus just exercising and working out. That's when I started to see better results. 2 more to go. So number 4 then was structure. To my day, to my meals, to my morning routine, to my nighttime routine. Oh my God, nearly as big as a revelation as protein was. But when I started having structure to my day and being planned and being organized, it was like, again, I know I said this before about protein, but it was like a revelation of, this is what I was missing. This makes it doable. This makes it long term. Like, this makes me say, actually, I can succeed in this. And that's one thing I love to hear off my clients, is when they say to me, I actually believe now that I can achieve what I want to achieve. Because when anyone comes works with me, I am like, tell me the dream results. What does the dream result look like for you? Don't go the safe result. What does the dream result? Because I know the dream result is possible. I know how to get there. But until we have these things in motion, it's really hard to have that dream result and think that it's possible. I know it is. So when my clients tell me their dream result, and then we put all of these things in action, and then a month or two down the line, they say, oh, I actually believe that this is all doable now, because I'm starting to understand the things. I'm starting to implement the things I never did before. Like, that for me is where I am like, that's what that for me is like, jobs are good. We're going to do this. Because when they say, I now believe that dream result is possible, I'm like, yes. So anyway, structure, routine, being planned, being organized. If you are not at the moment sitting down, and it can be any day of the week, I do mine on a Sunday because I just work on a Monday, Sunday vibe. But Sunday, I sit down and I organise, my week. So that isn't just, my gym and my meals. Like, it's what social occasions I'm getting done. I'm having a facial that week. I'm going to get my hair done. I'm going to see my mum, my friends, what's going on that week. So I plan that in. And then that then lets me go, okay, so that day, that's when I'll get my steps in. That's when I'll go to the gym. That's what the meals that I'm having. And just having that structure leading into that solid routine. Like, for me now, I could probably not plan my week. If you think about it, how old am I? 35. I've been doing this solidly for like 6 years now. I probably don't have to sit down and look at my Google Calendar, transfer it into my passion planner, transfer it on my daily to do this. I probably don't have to do that. But for me, I know that I'm more inclined to win and to achieve bigger, better things by doing that. So why would I not do it? And I've probably got that down subconsciously. So for someone who's starting out and doesn't have that down subconsciously, can you imagine how wild that is to me when I say to people, how are you planning your week? And they're like, like in my head. I'm like, but you're not where you want to be. And if I'm where I want to be and still doing it, you need to be doing it more, So having structure for me and saying to myself, okay, when I start my fat loss journey at 6 o'clock, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do a half an hour walk. And then about 8 o'clock, that's when I'm going to do I'm going to have my breakfast. Then I'll do some work and then I have my lunch at this time, or train or whatever. Then I'll have an afternoon snack if I want it between like 1 and 2. Or 2 and 3, and then I'll have not between 1 and 2, that sounds ridiculous, far too close to lunchtime, but I'll have an afternoon snack if I want it, and then I have my tea between this time. Like, structure, routine, being planned, being organised, that seems so simple. I've just whittled that off, but it is so powerful, because comparing it to what I used to do, right, was I'd wake up and maybe I wouldn't be hungry. So, well, first of all, I used to work a lot of shifts. So I used to work, like, some days I'd have to be up at 5, and then some days I would be not in work till like 2 in the afternoon. So like my structure was out. So rather than, again, I didn't understand about sleep cycle and about the importance of routine. So on the days that I didn't have to be up till 2, I'd maybe stay in bed till 10. Fucking hell, I was fucked. Didn't know whether I was coming or going. And then the next day I'd have to be up at 5. Madness, right? So if I was to do that now, I would just make my wake up time like between 5 and 6 every single day. So on Sundays, on the days that I was on early, I'd be up at 5. On the days that I wasn't in later, what I'd do is I'd get up at 6, I'd train, I'd do everything. So that when I got in from work later on, I'd go straight to bed rather than like wasting. Anyway, so that's what I'd do if I was on shift work again. But when it comes to structured and getting up, like what I used to do, like I said, is I would get up at different times. If I woke up, I'd be like, I'm not hungry, so I'm not going to have breakfast. But what would that lead to? Well, that would lead me into overeating later in the day, maybe more snacks, maybe a bigger dinner. Like, I just had no routine, no structure. I would try and eat probably as little as possible throughout the day and then be starving later on. In the gym that I used to work in, this will blow your mind, But in the gym that I used to work in, they used to put like staff dinners on, and the staff dinners. Sorry guys, I've just got to accept a risk. That's weird. They'd be like chips, sandwiches, sausages, burgers. but because I was in that mindset of eating less is better. Oh my God, if you'd ever had a pack of chips put in front of you when you're fucking starving, like, it's like torture. And I don't care, nobody, even with the best willpower in the world, saying no to them. So it was just, when I really think back now, I had no routine, I had no structure, I had no planning, organisation in my food, in my day. No wonder I struggled with my weight. And if you are thinking, oh my God, I don't plan my meals, I don't plan my workouts, I don't plan my steps, I don't have a morning routine, I'm telling you now, it is not your willpower, it is not you tracking your calories, it is not you doing anything else. Like, because you don't have that, everything seems so much harder. So get organized, be planned. It is really going to help you. So other podcasts you can go listen to, the AM routine, the PM routine. I'm sure there's another one like about being planned, being organized. I'll have a look, and if not, I'll make sure I get a podcast out on that. But yeah, for me, number 4, having structure, being planned, being organized. When I got my head around that and I actually got my shit together, everything else became so much easier to do and stick to. And that's going to take me on to point 5, which is timescale, timeline of results. What I used to do was say to myself, okay, breakfast, shake, lunch, 2 boiled eggs and ham, snack, apple, tea, chicken salad. Now, if I do this for 4 weeks, I'll lose a stone. Like, I'm not going to eat any chocolate, no biscuits, none, no sweets. I'm literally going to eat the same thing every single day, which, by the way, is not fucking enough. I'm going to eat the same thing every single day for 4 weeks. I am on it. Sound familiar? And that's because my time scale of results was off. So off. When I got my head round, okay, I'm probably looking at 6 months for this transformation. I'll talk about my stages in a second, but rather than committing to 4 weeks of hell and actually unsustainability and going, right, well, actually what I'm going to do is I've got a sensible calorie deficit. I've got a few social occasions coming in, but rather than going way out of what I think is doable and actually just keeping it just on that doable line, and I'm going to do that every day for 6 months, that is the time scale that I'm looking at. Again, the sense of relief, which I know is going to sound mad, because so we live in a world of I want it now, I want it quick, I want it yesterday. But you will never get sustainable results like that. That is probably the one thing that we'll never be able to order off Amazon is fat loss results and health improvement, okay? Because it takes time and it takes investment. And my job as a coach is to, hopefully what you've seen today, I've done all of that mistake for you. I now know what it takes to move forward and get you where you want to be as quickly as what you want to be. But I will be super honest. Whenever I speak to someone or if someone inquires about coaching, I always say, are you ready for 6 months commitment? Are you ready for that? Because I am not a flash in the pan coach. I am not going to sell you the dream within 3 months. Do you know, have you ever signed up for a coach and they say, okay, 3 months minimum? Or like, you know, it's a 3-month package. You're going to get to the end of 3 months. They're going to tell you it's another 3 months. Why are you doing that? Just tell them up front, 6 months. You get a great fucking transformation if you put the work in. Like, you'll always get honesty with me. So again, the time scale that I learned was that I always used to try and do 4 weeks, 6 weeks, never 8 weeks. Far too long. But yeah, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you know, and it would be things like I've got a night out, I've got a holiday. Nothing would fucking change. Nothing would change because I couldn't do it. I couldn't stick it out. And so the reason I say like 6 months, so if you're thinking, if you've got good ears and good memory, you'll notice at the start of this podcast, I said I lost 2 stone over about 2.5 years. I lost 2.5 stone over about 2 years because I did it in stages. So I gave myself 6 month goals. So one was a photo shoot. Then actually, I think that was like a 5 month. What's May? 5 months. Yeah, it's good that I remember that. One was like 5 months, and then straight after that, I made another goal for the August. So I just sort of kept that rolling. But notice the difference. So January, February, March, April, May. So 5 months for that first goal. Then we did June, July, August, then another 3 months for a bit of a tightener up on that goal. So it wasn't like 3 months, another huge goal. The biggest one for me though, guys, was me getting married and me going on my hendo. And my hendo was in the July, my wedding was in the September. I started in the January. And I was already in pretty good shape. I'd already done, the year before, I'd already done, or the 2 years prior, I can't even remember. I'd already put a good shift in and I was already in pretty good shape. I wanted to be in amazing shape. I wanted to look in the mirror on my wedding day and be like, I couldn't have done any more. I am so happy. I am so proud. Like, this is a pivotal moment. And I'm so happy I get to say that I did that, which is why I'm so passionate about brides, which is why I put the pressure on my brides. Because I know that if I had looked in the mirror on my wedding day and felt a smidge of disappointment, I would have been heartbroken for the rest of my life because I'm only getting married once. And I didn't. I put the work in. But I wasn't naive. And I put the work in for January, February, March, April, May, June, July. 7 months for my hendo. Felt amazing. I then, because I'd done a lot of that hard work, had 8 weeks till my wedding that I knew I didn't have to go all guns blazing. I just had to be consistent, tying up. Turns out 2 months before your wedding, holy moly, if you can bottle that motivation, I would be a millionaire. Turns out them 8 weeks I didn't put my foot to the floor and smashed it, but I would have hated to have had to do that within 8 weeks. Does that make sense? I am so glad that I gave myself the January to the July, because here's what's happened in that January to the July. I was getting married. It was my wedding year, right? I had my hendo. We went, because we got married in Italy, I had a trip to Italy to do wedding tasting. Our other friends got married in Greece. I had her hendo. I think I went on a hendo to Amsterdam. Like, I had shit going on in that time. So I didn't want to miss out. So I was sensible and I looked at my timeline. I was like, what is going to work here? And that is, again, for me, a revolutionary thing in my fat loss journey and me getting results, is that it's so sad when people say, I'm going on holiday in 6 weeks and I want to lose 2 stone, and I already know that's not gonna, you're already gonna set yourself up for disappointment. So I want you to listen to this now. Where are we? Okay, so we're in March. I am not saying if you've got a holiday in May, June, that you can't achieve a really good result, because you can if you start now. But don't be thinking, I'm going on holiday in May, so 1st of April is when I'm going to start my shit. No, start now. If you have got a holiday in August, September, October, November, if you're getting married next year and you are thinking that you want to lose 3-4 stone before you get married, fucking hell, start now. Start now. Okay? Bearing in mind, when I got married, does it feel like a web podcast? Anyway, when I got married, I probably wanted to lose, I don't even think I had a number in mind, but maybe a stone. Yeah, maybe a stone before I got married. And I gave myself 7 months to do that. Like, logically think about it. I've got a client who's getting married this year. I've literally just been checking it in then. She's getting married this year. She came to me last year with the goal to lose 4 stone. Okay. We're 7 months in. She's lost 2.5 stone in 7 months. Amazing. I know she's going to lose 4 stone before our wedding. I know she is, because we've timelined it. But that is one thing. Like, these 5 things that I've learned are really not in order. They are all light bulb moments for me. But I wanted to end with timescale, because I feel like this is probably the one that you're going to remember, is that if you want to be somewhere, it takes longer than 4 and 6 weeks. It takes longer than 2 months. If you want to have this big transformation, I would say 6 months, which is what I say to my clients, which is the transformations I get. You know, I put these transformations on Instagram and everyone is like, wow, they're amazing. And I don't know whether they think about timescale or not, but they generally take 6 months. Okay, we're done. Wrapping it up. So, things I learned, things I wish I knew before I started my own fat loss journey. The importance of protein, the importance of daily movements and steps, understanding that training is different to exercising and working out, and that's what we need to be focusing on. Having structure to my day, to my meals, to my week, to my life. Epic. And number 5 is understanding that progress takes time, and set yourself a timeline of doable actions which are going to equal doable results. Girlies, if you enjoyed this podcast, which I really hope you did, please share it on your socials. I know there's a lot of people who have been getting like really good at sharing and tagging me, and I love to see, and it really helps me. Send it to someone who needs to hear. Message me, let me know you've listened and that it was helpful at _em.powered. And as always, I am so grateful for you listening and rating the podcast. It means a world to me. And if you would like to come and see the Mission Empowered live, drop me a message and I will get the link to get your tickets over Saturday, the 6th of April, 2024. And I will see you next time. All right, guys, have a great day. And as always, love you. Bye.